I can't believe it, bro.
Two stingers and a
This is actually so sad because considering the fact they should have been at Tokyo as well.
That's another one. Rooney
No
and Zelsis,
way.
all that are left. The spike in hand, they're all on site. There's the
Oh,
reckoning.
no way.
Rooney falls. Zelsis
Wow.
does too. They've done it. They've freaking done it. It's a miracle in Santa Monica.
How did C9 manage to lose a series closing map when they were up 9-3 at the half? C9 has gone through so many ups and downs in such a short amount of time. Within just half a year, C9 signed Ye, then dropped him for rookies, then dominated Americas, only losing one match to Loud, were within 2 rounds of qualifying for both Masters and Champions against NRG, and finally got reverse sweeped against Leviathan in the losers finals of LCQ.
It's actually so sad, dude. I can't believe I've been part of history getting reverse swept.
Today, we're going to break down Haven from their final match against Leviathan, where they had a great opportunity to close out the series, but a bad streak of coin flip strats caused them to lose almost every single round on defense. C9 have actually never had strong defense sides on Haven. If we look at the last year of pro matches, C9 have played Haven a total of 7 times, but only have a 32% win rate on defense. This is one of the worst defense win rates in the world on any map. But C9 kept Haven in their map pool because they were so confident in their attack side, in which they win 62% of their rounds. So what is causing this huge imbalance of attack and defender win rates? C9 aren't running a meta-breaking comp by any means, they run very standard comps with no major holes. So what is really going on here? Let's start with what makes C9's attack side so good. In the first round of the game against Lev, we see C9 slow play into A main with an Omen smoke at Brick to deny info and prevent a fight into A main. They slowly take control of short, but are seen by Mazzino collecting info, who then smokes it off. Defender smokes like this are helpful for stopping executes, but are double-edged because then you aren't able to gather any more information. C9 are quick to capitalize on this, and as soon as they are smoked off, they quietly leave short and move into mid where Killjoy has maintained control. This works perfectly, as you can see Lev are still anticipating an A execute when C9 start to execute B. This would be a full retake situation since Lev are out of position to contest B, but an overzealous push into the smoke from Leaf lines him up with his teammate and Shy gets 2 for free. Still, C9's strong default and mid-round calling tricked Leviathan, who weren't ready for the B execute. In the next round, we see C9 work up C slowly. They drop this really sick Omen smoke which denies the easy jump spot and forces enemies into way riskier peaks if they want to gather information. This allows C9 to walk up to top C and forces Mazzino to drop his smoke as a precaution. Just like last round, Lev have no more info in C long and C9 are able to leave and work back toward the other side of the map. Leaf hits a crazy shot on Taco jiggle peeking, but let me take a brief moment to break down all the reasons why Taco's play here was bad. First, he's jiggle peeking while ADSing, which makes his movement slower and makes his jiggle more risky. Second, he shouldn't be jiggle peeking at all if he intends to take a fight. Jiggle peeking is exactly what gets him killed here as he timings himself and swings into Leaf, who just took the angle milliseconds before. Thirdly, he's doing this from the most common angle that everyone is going to immediately pre-aim from A lobby. If he intends to take the fight, he should be holding a wider off angle near bricks and can just fall back to site with his dash if needed. Credit to Leaf for hitting this insane shot, but all these small things matter and you don't want to give a player like Leaf any advantages. With this kill, Lev are desperate to make it back to A in time, but C9 make an awesome mid-round call to go back C. This completely puts Lev in a bad position to play full retake. C9 intelligently played the post plant in long with the range advantage in Marshals and Sheriffs against Lev's anti-eco, Spectres, and Stingers. In the last 2 rounds, we saw C9 use great, slowly played defaults. By using smartly placed rechargeable Omen smokes, they're able to take enough control to force enemy smokes out. This then denies information and allows them to work the rest of the map, giving them great options in the mid-round. But C9 also show us some very scary, well-coordinated full executes as well, which allows them to actually capitalize on the map control from their defaults. This C execute, for example, uses Omen Blind and Breach Stun to clear the entire right side, while the Sova Dart comes in as well, which helps clear anyone trying to hide on the left. Then we see this round where C9 works slowly through A main, and catch Taco doing his bad jiggle peeking again, and immediately speed up to take A. Check out the cool tech for Jake to Omen TP into Leaf's Jet Smoke, so there are 2 players who close the gap on site. This actually does make a difference in this execute as Leaf gets traded, but Jake can quickly pick up backside control. Finally, no attack side is good without a post-plant game plan. We already saw the smart idea to play long during their eco when they had sheriffs and marshals. But here's a round where C9 execute B, and although no one on Lev is on site, C9 purposely don't smoke A link and leave it open to fight it so they can plant for A link instead of for mid. They leave Jake on site to kill anyone trying to help from C link, while the rest of them throw deep utility into A link and push it. Although the bomb was never actually planted because it was cancelled by Breach Ult, their plan worked perfectly. Lev bring back a couple rounds at the end of this half as they decide to fight for key spots such as sewers on A and C long before C9 can get to their spots, instead of just smoking them off immediately. But C9 are still up 9-3 by the end of the half, and Haven is attack-sided, but definitely not by that much. Immediately in the first round of the next half, we start to witness the 9-3 curse in full effect, as C9 go for some sort of hard read and have 4 players stacked around mid preparing for a B execute. At the same time, Rooney is left to solo anchor A, while everyone on C9 stays near B even after the dart, stun, and drone have been used near A. Rooney doesn't decide to back off either, as Lev just stroll onto site and surprise him with his shock darts out. With no flank options, it's just really hard to win a 5v4 retake onto A, and C9 seem to have just thrown pistol round with a coin flip strat. During C9's eco, Rooney gets a huge pick with the sheriff, and now the round is in a very winnable position. But I really don't like how C9 just decided to give up A and play the full retake, even though they had 3 members ready to fight for the site. I get the idea of trying to use their 2 flankers properly, but I think they just gave too much space back to Lev. If you give too much space for free, especially against enemies with a gun advantage, number advantages are quickly rendered useless, as we see C9 struggle to retake and lose the round. Now, in the next round, which is C9's first gun round, they again decide to do a super hard read, sending 4 members A main to contest it. Although they weren't ultimately punished for it, they were incredibly vulnerable at this point and almost lost complete control of C and Garage if Leviathan actually decided to execute. Luckily, they were just interested in breaking Killjoy utility and leaving. We see another attempt to hard fight for sewers with 3 members, and the round breaks down before Lev even get to the sites. Another round where C9 overthink themselves into a bad situation, and the lead is basically erased at this point, but things still don't get better for them. A timeout is called right before C9 goes into another save, but their game plan doesn't really change. This round, they finally get punished for having nobody on C, and Lev take the site for free. Lev can smoothly close out the round with their gun advantage, playing the post plant. Round 19 is now at an even 9-9 scoreline, and although it seems like C9 start to play a somewhat standard setup, there are still major issues with how this setup works. Leaf buys an op this round and sets up A, but for some reason, Killjoy utility is also set up on A. I've talked about this before where it's pretty counterintuitive to set up your Killjoy utility on the same site as your opper in most cases. The main reason for this is that it's hard to find value for an op during retakes, and the same is true for Killjoy utility except for her ult. It's like putting too many eggs in one basket, which is what C9 have been doing all half. Lev decide to walk up grass to prepare for an execute and perfectly demonstrate exactly why this setup doesn't work well. Normally Killjoy is able to get some information in Garage, but in this case, as Lev is hitting B, we see Rooney have to use Sova Drone to re-clear Garage since they had no players or utility set up there. On this timing, Lev hit B and are able to get a plant down completely uncontested. Now the op and all of Killjoy's utility on A get absolutely no value, as C9 have to play a full retake onto B. C9 tried to push down mid hard while Rooney sticks the bomb, but did not account for the Sova ult, and have officially lost their lead after 7 lost rounds in a row. C9 simply ran too many coin flip rounds dependent on hard reads, and I think this game was a perfect example of why the 9-3 curse even exists in the first place. 9-3 isn't enough of a lead to simply coin flip your way toward a win. You may luck out on 1 or 2 rounds like C9 did on round 21, but you're still not going to be close enough to win the game or even get into overtime. You still need to start with a strong standard setup and plan, then throw in a couple hard reads if you really have a good reason to. Starting the pistol round off immediately with a hard read like C9 did not only sets you up for very volatile rounds on defense, but you are wasting valuable rounds to try and figure out what Lev's game plan really is. C9 could not paint a picture of what Lev were actually trying to do and kept digging their own hole regardless of how Lev were playing. Credit to Lev for playing around this perfectly and feeling out all of C9's aggressive traps. I really wonder what would have happened if C9 just played a single round standard and worked Omen, Breach, and Sova as rotators between a Jet, Op, and Killjoy, who can anchor the extremities. It's unfortunate to see C9 go through such an emotional roller coaster throughout the season, and I think they were a very successful example of integrating Tier 2 and collegiate talent into a professional setting. Hopefully they'll be able to avoid more crazy roster drama next year and pick themselves up. Remember that I offer free team coaching live on my Discord, and also consider supporting me on Patreon, which helps me out a lot. Thanks again for watching.